dealing with negative thoughts. My last video was on mental conversations, and I have come to see that there are people, I've always said it in my videos, I think there's something wrong with me because I don't have thoughts. And in one way, that is a really good thing. But if you are one of those people who have thoughts that never shut off, and it's like there's a second person in your head narrating your life, making up things as your day goes on, how do you combat those negative thoughts? Well, I'm going to give you some tips and ideas that you can use to deal with those negative thoughts. This is Susie, your beautiful millionaire swan queen. Welcome back to the garden, my beautiful duckling. Subscribe, smash the like button, share my video. I will love you forever. I am a life coach with a 99.6% success rate in helping people get back together with the love of their life. If you would like to be one of the million couples that I have a goal of uniting in love, or you want to join my paid Facebook group where it is the only place that I go live, please check out the links in the description below. So you are, and I really do not mean this in a negative way, I mean this in a very loving way. You are one of these people that your inner voice never shuts up. And you are constantly being narrated to your life. And I've had, since my last video, a number of my clients reach out to me and they're like, oh my God, Susie, that is so me. My brain never shuts off. My voice is constantly going. So what does Susie do? Susie has a conversation with the one person you guys tell me I shouldn't talk about, but I love talking about, my ex. So I talked to my ex and I asked him, do you have an inner voice? And when you are reading a book, does that voice read, do you hear that? And he said, yes. And I said, is it a positive voice or a negative voice? He said, it's positive. It empowers his life. And I said, is it like it narrates your life and it's constantly, he said, oh yeah, it's all the time. And he said, it's loud. It's like I'm talking out loud, but it's inside my head. So I understand what you guys are saying now. My therapist and I had this conversation because she's one of those people who has that voice in her head that is constantly talking. And I would tell her, can you explain that? Could you clarify that? And now she understands why I ask her to explain stuff. And I understand why she's confused when I say to speak out loud. Because that voice in your head is as loud as the voice that I'm doing right now. So I am talking and it's hearing inside of your head without even saying a physical word. The tips and tricks that I use to help my clients are always simple and easy to implement. One of the things is to literally persist in the assumption of what I tell you. Thoughts are just thoughts. Your spoken words out loud create. There's a huge thing with that. Think about that. If your thoughts are 80% negative, and you are constantly narrating your life. For example, you're having a mental conversation with your specific person and you're like, hey, Jared, how are you today? Jared says, I'm really good. Well, then why? I'm really good and, just sitting here quietly watching the football game. Well, why the fuck aren't you texting me? Why aren't you calling me? Why didn't you invite me over to watch the game with you? If that's your voice, I'm sorry that you're having to live with that. I truly, truly am. But that voice is sending him Cupid's arrows that goes through absolutely positively everything. And he's getting hit with a surge of negative energy. The same thing if we're a woman. Because they're sending negative thoughts, if they're as loud as my voice, they're getting constantly bombarded. So if you say, my thoughts are just thoughts, my spoken words said out loud are what actually create my reality, the things in your head are not going to manifest. If your thoughts are empowering, of course you want to say, my thoughts create my reality. Why do I say that? Because you are taking negative Nancy, negative Neil, and you are putting them in the other room. And you are telling them, you don't create my life. I create my life. My consciousness creates my life. I choose what I want to do. So I choose to not let you control my life. Things that I used to tell my ex-husband all the time. We would be fighting or arguing, and I would get overwhelmed, and I would do stop. And I literally would put my hands up, stop. I had a therapist tell me it was the rudest thing in the world to do. And my current therapist, whom I absolutely adore, told me it's not the word she would like, but stop is a very powerful word. Because stop, everybody stops and looks. If you are in the mall, you're in a parking lot, if you are being harassed by somebody and you were to yell, stop, everybody's going to turn and look. If you yell help, most people aren't going to pay attention. We don't, in all honesty. And I know that sounds horrible, but I was at a creek and the kids were saying help and nobody actually heard it. But when you say stop, everybody freezes. So if you tell those thoughts, stop, because I choose what creates my reality. Stop saying that because we're now creating this. Little kids play all the time and they go play house. You want to be with your specific person. Give those thoughts a new job. Tell them to go play house with your specific person. So they're playing house. They have that conversation that we just had that I'm not going to repeat with Jared. Now, you tell them, stop. Don't be fighting with Jared. Create a happy marriage to Jared. Show me what a happy marriage to Jared would look like. You're going to have to go in there and counteract those thoughts. The thing is, if a narcissist can say that these thoughts can empower their life, then they can also empower yours. You are entitled to have an amazing life, a fun life, a loving life. So if you are entitled to have a great life, then you're entitled to have your thoughts empower you having that great life. You buy a car, you buy a house, you get a loan to do a business. You're not going to listen to those thoughts that say anything other than it's easy to pay this mortgage back. It's easy to pay this loan back. It's easy to make my car payment. You have $1,000 a month in bills and you're making $800 a month and you're walking around and saying it's easy to meet my bills and I always have money left over. You're going to start increasing your income without even changing jobs or doing anything different other than telling yourself, I always have money. I easily pay my bills and have plenty of money left over where I could do anything I want. The difference between an empowering thought and a negative thought is what you do with it. So you have that negative thought. And that negative thought is busting your butt. It's just a thought, guys. And if your thoughts are creating your reality, stop letting it create. It doesn't actually mean anything until you say it out loud. Or you say it in your head. Well, I had a dream. So let's talk about a dream. I had a dream. And I hate to dream because 90% of the time my dreams come true. The other 10% of the time, I'm just kind of wandering through a maze. And wandering through a maze is not fun. But let's wander through this maze, and we have a dream. And we dream somebody passes away, and that comes true. And then you're wandering through the maze a little bit more, and you dream your pet passed away. And you're wandering through the maze a little bit more, and you dream somebody else passed away. You dreamt about a car accident. You dreamt about, a fire. And then you go around and tell everybody, oh my God, I had this nightmare and this bad thing happened in my nightmare. And I'm so worried because my dreams come true. You're reinforcing that your dream is now going to come true. And that's what we're doing with our thoughts as well. We're having these thoughts, oh my gosh, he's not doing what I want. He's not conforming. I'm using all the tips, the techniques, and the tools, and I'm not seeing anything changing. He's so negative in my head all the time. You're then telling your friends they're not meeting your needs. They're not doing the things that you want them to do. So you're taking your thoughts and then you're speaking them out loud. It's double creating. Remember, any negative thing said once equals 70 times. A positive thing equals 10 times. So you have to say a lot of positive. So if you are saying a lot of positive all day long and you're fearing the negative thoughts, you're letting your fear control you. So you have to literally say, stop, stop, stop. Even the thing that I've been doing lately, stop talking. Literally close your lips and say, stop talking. Do you hear the silence? It may only be a moment, but it's silence. When we meditate, so you meditate for 30 minutes and you get to the point where you have 30 minutes of silence because you have practiced it a lot. What do you do the other 24 and a half hours? My ex always has to have noise, so he always had the sports channel on, either the TV or the radio when we would go to bed at night. And I became a overeducated person on sports because I was listening to this all night long. What can you put on that is going to distract the voice in your head? What can you sit down and read that's going to empower you? I am reading a book about peace by Joel Osteen. There are Napoleon Hill. There is Joe Dispenza. There's Wayne Dyer. There's Neville Goddard. What are you reading that can empower you? Maybe put that audio book on, The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. So let's put that audio book on and let that play at night when you're sleeping because you're hearing the words. The biggest thing, though, is don't just put anybody on. I have a musician ear, and in a musician's ear, sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. When there is an orchestra playing, the orchestras are beautiful, and I love listening to the orchestra. The string instruments. When somebody breaks that bow across those strings, it irritates my ear because I can hear it. It doesn't matter if it is a recording, I'm in the audience, I'm multitasking and listening to it while I'm working, I can still hear the bow go across the strings. And since I can hear that, it's not music I would want to listen to. Number 2, the voice. What does the voice do to you? Is it making you feel empowered or is it irritating? Because there are voices that are annoying. I listen to myself in a recording and I'm like, is that what I really sound like? There's other recordings that I listen to, and if they're speaking, I don't like it. If they're whispering, it might be better. Is there music? Is there words? What are you listening to drown out that voice? Make sure that music is empowering. So you have, I believe it's Lady Gaga's Superstar. That's an empowering song. It's So Easy to Fall in Love. It's an empowering song. Your things that you have to do have to focus on empowering you. And here's a really quick phrase. My thoughts add value. My thoughts empower my life. If my thoughts are so loud and they're creating, then make them do the job of adding value. You consciously create your life, so those thoughts are just thoughts. Write down on a piece of paper what you want, and then give those thoughts the job to produce it. Tell them, I am creating XYZ. And because I'm creating XYZ, you need to get on board or shut up. I remember when you were overwhelming, but now you're on the same page as me, and we're creating a beautiful life together. You still have to tell those thoughts to be positive or negative. So think about this. The word positive itself says, oh, life is great, we're doing wonderful. The word negative says it's bad. So when that thought pops up about Jared, what are you labeling it as? Because that title, negative thought, sad thought, makes me cry thought, or is it saying, this is empowering me, this is adding value to my life, this is helping me to create my reality? You have to talk to those thoughts just like you would talk to me in a coaching. You're going to come at me in a coaching and you're going to go, I don't want to tell the backstory. And I honestly don't need the backstory. But sometimes you have to tell the backstory to get it out. So maybe these thoughts are running because you haven't gotten it all out. When I have a situation that I can't process, I talk it to death over and over and over again until I get that last little bit out. And then once I get it out, I no longer talk about it. When I finally get a situation changed, I never talk about the stuff that happened in the past. It's done. It's over with. So if you were bad at relationships, well, I used to be bad at relationships, but now I'm great. I learned my lesson with bad relationships, and because of that, I always have amazing relationships. So start using words like now, always, empowering, positive, amazing, wonderful, great, because you can't have a bad thought and a good thought at the same time. You're labeling, this is bad, this is good. You might have 15 thoughts a minute where I have 15 thoughts all day, but you can say, you no longer serve me. Please go file yourself in the Never Speak About Again folder. And every time it comes up, stop. We're not going down that hole. Stop, because you're not adding value to my life. Stop, because I've changed that story. Tips that you use, simple little things that you think aren't going to work, are things that you can implement every single day for the rest of your life. If you have a narcissist who's saying their thoughts are empowering, yeah, they have a disorder, but they're still saying thoughts empower me. Words empower my life. I get whatever I want because my thoughts and my words are lining up. They're on the same page and they're creating my dream life. And I don't let it go. So if you have to record your voice and put it on a headset and put it in your ears and listen to it all day long. If you have to say your affirmations 10,000 times a day to change your life, do it. I can do it when the thought pops up. You have 15 thoughts, it's easy. But if you have 15 thoughts in a minute and you need to affirm for 70,000 seconds a day, do it. Do whatever it takes, because you will get to that point where those thoughts are empowering you. I remember when those thoughts created chaos in your life, but, a big but, now they're empowering me, because your brain doesn't hear what was before but, because is the same way. They're two very empowering words. Make sure your buts and your becauses are positive so that it can start to change those thoughts to help you create your reality. I hope this helped you guys a little bit more. You know that I love you. And my whole goal in life is that you guys never have to go through the years of trying to figure out what you're doing or what you need to change, when you can do it in days, weeks, or months, instead of spending years doing this. And if you've been doing this for years, do something different. Because if you've been doing it for years and it's not working, you have to change. You have to do something different. And I know change is huge. So this is different. I'm going to try it. It's going to work. And when it works, you keep saying it, because it will add value and continue to empower you. I love you guys. Have an absolutely positively amazing day. As always, I love you. Leave me a comment and let me know how I am drastically changing your life for the better. P.S. If anybody happens to know what little man did with my clicker that turns my camera on and off, could you please tell me? Because I keep asking him and can't find it. And I've torn my house apart today looking for it, and I don't know where the little booger put it. So that's why you see me reaching in lately in my videos, because he hit my little Bluetooth clicker that turns my camera on. Just a little FYI for you guys. Have an absolutely positively amazing day. And again, remember that I am your second footprints in the sand. I love you, and I am always here for you.